I call the November 2019 New Windsor Town Council meeting to order. Will everyone please stand and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our meetings are recorded electronically and will follow an agenda. Anyone who wished to have a matter placed on the agenda needed to submit the topic to the mayor in writing by the last Wednesday of the previous month. By the close of the business day, which is 3 p.m., these items will be reviewed for approval. Anyone wishing to speak during residents' concerns should sign their name on the sign-up sheet, which is on the table by the town manager.
One of the things we've been doing for several years is recognizing our local businesses for the years of service. And tonight we have 5 businesses that we want to recognize. I'm not sure if anybody's here from Myers Crab Shack, but the mayor and council recognizes Myers Crab Shack for their 5 years of service, November 6, 2019. Unfortunately, Doug and Cindy aren't here, but we'll make sure that they receive this. If you're not familiar with Myers Crab Shack, it's one of the best places to get crab, shrimp, and a lot of other seafood, and Doug and Cindy will take good care of you. And then she's here somewhere. Rita, come on up front. The mayor and councils recognize and serve for their 70 years of service, November 6, 2019.
Serve is a fair trade organization, and we're hoping that we have another good 70 years.
Having a sale coming up too. We're
Thank you very much. And the Berlin Service Center. You can come out here too.
Sure.
The mayor and council recognizes Brethren Service Center for their 75 years of service, November 6, 2000.
We appreciate this and appreciate the support of the town. We've had quite a few employed people from New Windsor as well as volunteers, even into the current day, including a town council member. And just really appreciate all the support that you give us. We not only have local volunteers, but we have folks that come from as far away as Illinois, New York, North Carolina. So it is a good program and it's helping people around the world, and you are a serious part of it. Every box that goes out from here says from New Windsor, Maryland. Thank you.
And if students need some service hours,
Every day, and if you have a free day and would like to volunteer and check us out, please come and see us.
Thank you.
Council, go to tab 3. Before you are the minutes for the October 2nd, 2019 Town Council meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes as written?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
I second that motion.
There is a motion by Councilmember Tate and second by Councilmember Ambrose to approve the minutes. Are there any questions or comments about the minutes? All those in favor of approving the minutes say aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes and the minutes have been approved. Mayor's report. Council, go to tab 5 in your books. I want to begin my report by talking about Music on the Main. This In the Street event takes place on the first Saturday in October. Just 4 years old, I'm very pleased with the increased turnout of visitors and the strong community support to make this event a tremendous success. There were 4 outstanding bands, great food, lots of vendors, and activities for all ages. This year we have the honor of having Governor Larry Hogan, Budget and Management Secretary David Brinkley, Smart Growth Special Secretary Wendy Peters, delegates Susan Krebs, Haven Shoemaker, and April Rose, County Commissioners Eric Buchat and Dennis Frazier. I had the opportunity to discuss our streetscape project, Dealman Inn, College Avenue and Blue Ridge Avenue Street Project, and the Sulphur Springs Park designs with Governor Hogan. I'm very proud to say to have been part of the military banners that are on display during the month of November. Hopefully you have taken the time to admire the banners and to take a moment to give thanks to these veterans for serving in the United States Armed Forces. The banners will be displayed for the months of November and May every year. Along with council members Schultz and Hoffman, we attended Preservation Maryland's Phoenix Rising fundraiser. While there, I spoke with Rob Brennan and Lily Mundroff from Brennan and Company Architects, Martha Elliott and Jeff Child from Lewis Contracts, and Michael Coombs from LaGrange Hall Masonry, who specializes in historic renovations about Dealman Inn. They are all very interested in the restoration of the inn and will soon tour the inn. On Monday, October 28th, I met with a local business person and made a presentation on the 2 Sulphur Spring Park designs. He was very interested in the concept designs and asked how much it would take to have the naming rights. I said $500,000. He said, "Is that all?" I plan on following up with this individual next week. In closing out my mayor's report, I want to extend my greatest appreciation to our town council and staff. As you either have witnessed personally of the projects going on in town or by my report, we have a lot going on. These projects would not be going as well as they are without their oversight and support. I thank you for all you do. Any questions for me about my mayor's report? Council committees. Council, go to tab 4 in your books. Community enhancement. Councilmember Green has a work obligation and is unable to attend tonight's meeting. Public Works, Councilmember Carly Holden.
October has been another busy month for the Public Works crew. At the beginning of the month, the Public Works crew was busy setting up for the successful Music on the Main event. This included cleaning the streets and marking the vendor spaces on Main Street. They also erected a fence at the Main Street lot for the refreshment area. On the day of the event, they set up the road barricades to block the street, helped erect the band stage, and put up the signs for parking and detour routes. As usual, October marks the end of the mowing season and yard waste pickup. The Public Works crew will make their final rounds by mid-November. As the mowing is winding down, the Public Works crew will transition to leaf collection, which starts on November 12th and will continue through the first week of December. Refer to the town newsletter for the leaf curbside pickup schedule. Please remember, leaves should not be raked into the gutter during inclement weather, rain, snow, or sleet, as this creates blockage of the storm drainage system. Also, please do not rake sticks, stones, or trash curbside, as this will damage the leaf collection machine. New this year, residents can put leaves out in brown lawn bags or trash bins, and they will be collected as well. The last Saturday of October was the town's bulk trash day. Per the vehicle count, it is estimated that at least 50 town residents took advantage of this service and filled 4 dumpsters. The Public Works crew spent the morning on site to help unload the items. The dumpsters were available at the Public Works facility located on Gear Lane and were for the collection of items that are typically too large to go in the regular trash. I hope you noticed the veteran banners hanging in town for the last several months. The Public Works crew is responsible for hanging and removing the banners. They also took advantage of recent favorable weather and installed the decorations on the poles in anticipating the upcoming holiday season. Lastly, as we move towards winter weather, the Public Works crew would like to remind everyone to obey the parking prohibition on snow emergency routes. Vehicles parked in prohibited areas during snow emergencies create a hazardous situation for the crew and hinder their snow removal efforts. Please plan ahead and find a suitable place to park your vehicle before the snow falls this year.
Any comments or questions for Councilmember Holden? It seems like the Public Works crew is involved in just about everything around town. How many employees are on the crew?
The Public Works crew is made up of just 4 employees, 2 full-time and 2 part-time. The town is very fortunate to have such a dedicated, knowledgeable crew that has the ability to handle almost everything from operation, maintenance, and repair of our water and sewer system to the beautification of our town properties.
Water and sewer. Councilmember Ambrose, any comment? Oh, sorry.
We have several items to share with you this evening. First, we call your attention to the town's drinking water quality report. The town's water supply is tested annually as required by the Environmental Protection Agency and the Safe Drinking Water Act. Our water and sewer operator, Maryland Environmental Service, provides a report which basically states that New Windsor's drinking water is well within the prescribed maximum limits of certain contaminants. In most cases, the measured level of contaminants is less than half of the safe allowable level, and some are only a fraction of the maximum contaminant level. We take comfort in the knowledge that New Windsor's water is safe and actually tastes pretty good. The full report for the year 2018 can be found on the town's website. Go to the latest document search and type in water. It looks like this. We also have a copy here on the front table. Second item, one of our major projects this year, which is in its final stages, is the upgrade to the Blue Ridge and College Avenues, which in addition to the new pavement and sidewalks includes the replacement of the water line under the roadway. As is often the case, once digging commenced, we discovered that more of the piping was in need of a replacement than originally expected. Although this increased the total cost of this project, it is far more cost effective to replace pipes while they're exposed than to wait until a pipe falls and then dig it up for repairs. This project has taken considerably longer than anticipated and we appreciate the patience and understanding of the residents that have been impacted. When it is completed, they will enjoy improved streets, sidewalks, and reliable underground piping for years to come. The last item to share is a repeat from several years' November council meetings and will come to you as a public service announcement about disposable or flushable wipes and the problem they continue to create in our sewer system. For several years, we have been dealing with clogs and blockages in the town's sanitary sewer system pipes and pumps as a result of disposable or flushing of so-called disposable towels or wipes. While many of these household products are labeled disposable, and some even labeled flushable, they do not break down or disintegrate quickly enough to pass through the system without causing problems. Disposable does not mean flushable, and flushable is usually mislabeled by manufacturers. Please do not flush any type of wipes, towels, or other cleaning products into the system. So the public service announcement reads like this: no wipes down the pipes. Say it with me now. No wipes down the pipes. Thank you for your cooperation.
Any comments or questions for Councilmember Ambrose? So New Windsor's water is safe to drink right out of the tap, and there's no need to buy bottled water?
Absolutely. I happen to have some right here, so. How about you and I raise a toast to New Windsor's water?
Public safety, Councilmember Tate.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens. I would refer to the town deputy for the monthly statistics. I would like to remind everyone that at this time of year, particularly at the holidays, there is sometimes an increase in property crimes, including theft and burglaries. Please be mindful of your surroundings and report any suspicious activity to the Carroll County Sheriff's Department. As the weather turns colder, more folks will be utilizing their fireplaces and wood-burning stoves. It is very important that you use caution when using these devices, using them safely and within manufacturing specifications. You may have read recently that there have been at least 5 positive tests for rabies in Carroll County. There have been 4 raccoons and 1 cat from various areas around the community that have tested positive. While it is not unusual to find rabid animals in such a rural setting, the fact that there have been this many in a short period of time has caused alarm with the public health officials, animal control, wildlife officials, and law enforcement. It is important that you and your family avoid contact with wild animals, wild or feral cats, and stray domestic animals that may be unvaccinated. And an animal that carries the rabies disease may or may not show symptoms. Some of the symptoms can be over-aggressiveness, no fear of humans, slow moving, walking with a drunken stupor, sickly appearance, and or frothy discharge from the mouth and eyes. If you suspect an animal of being sick, do not try to confine the animal and contact animal control immediately. The phone number for animal control is 410-848-4810. If you or any of your pets have been exposed to an animal, have been bitten or scratched by the animal, you may dial 911 and seek medical attention immediately. Report the incident to the Carroll County Health Department's rabies coordinator. To minimize the risk of exposure, it is recommended that you have trash cans with proper fitting lids. Do not leave food such as cat food left outside. Secure outbuildings such as sheds and garages. When you are allowing your domestic pets outside, turn on lights, make a noise to help scare off any wildlife, and closely monitor your pet while they're outside. Remember that it is Maryland law that all domestic pets must be vaccinated with current rabies vaccines. If you or your family do not come in contact with a wild or feral animal, it is very important that you seek medical/care attention, which may include rabies and or tetanus vaccines. Remember, rabies is a very dangerous and deadly to all mammals, including humans. While all mammals are capable of contracting rabies, there are animals that are known as vector, animals which are more likely to contract and spread the disease. These include, but do not limited to, bats, cats, rats, foxes, and raccoons. I have with me tonight a brochure that was prepared by the Maryland Department of Mental Health and Hygiene, with some guidelines and tips on how to take a bite out of rabies. I also have a brochure prepared by the Carroll County Health Department of points which can teach our children about wild animals. Finally, I have a copy of all animal control laws and contact numbers for the Humane Society of Carroll County and Animal Control located in Carroll County, Maryland. Remember, for your safety and those around you, report any suspicious animal to proper authorities.
Any comments or questions for Councilmember Tate? What are some of the things that people can do to make themselves, their families, and their neighbors safe during the upcoming holiday season?
Please be safe and keep an eye out for any suspicious activity in and around your community. Check in on your elderly neighbors. Set your lights on timers to make it appear as if people are home. When having packages delivered, try to have someone there to pick them up or deliver to a neighbor who may be home. Be aware of your surroundings at all times. Cut back bushes and trees that may conceal a person. Make sure all doors are locked and secured. Do not leave valuables inside your vehicle. If you have service individuals coming to your house, make sure you check their identification to verify that it is actually the person who is scheduled to be at your residence. Those that do have fireplaces and/or wood-burning stoves, have your chimneys checked and cleared if necessary to avoid the potential of a fire. Most of all, be very diligent and keep your eyes and ears open for anything that seems out of the ordinary. If you feel uncomfortable about any situation, contact your local authorities.
Economic Development, Councilmember Evan Gillis.
We attended and represented New Windsor at the Human Services Program at Carroll County October Executive Committee and Board meetings. This organization is known as HSP. New Windsor citizens should know that HSP can help when a family has trouble paying a utility bill, water, electricity, heat, etc., and can help with emergency housing as well as many other needs. Attended the Preservation Maryland benefit on October 24th along with Mayor and Miss Roop and Councilman and Miss Hoffman. Volunteered at music on the main event on October 5th. Attended the October Carroll County Downtown's Economic Development Group meeting, which was held in New Windsor. The group is working on its annual Small Business Saturday Shopping Passport program. This is the 4th year for this program, which encourages shoppers to shop small and shop at local Carroll County businesses. 6 New Windsor businesses are participating. The program is supported by a grant from Carroll County Tourism and is free for the participating businesses. Anyone wanting more information about the passport program should contact Councilwoman Schultz. In order to promote New Windsor, a wreath will be submitted to the Carroll County Festival of Wreaths event with the theme, A Visit to New Windsor, and donations have been received and/or solicited from several New Windsor businesses, organizations, and/or artists.
Any comments or questions for Councilmember Gillis? What is Small Business Saturday, and does the Carroll County Downtown's Economic Development Group have a Shop Small passport?
Small Business Saturday is held the Saturday after Thanksgiving, so this year on November 30th, the Carroll County Downtown's passport lists hundreds of small businesses in Carroll County. Shoppers who visited 8 of these businesses between 11:30 and 12:08 can win one of 2050 gift certificates.
Community Deputy, Master Deputy Brian Calusi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The Sheriff's Office, between the dates of October 1st through October 31st, responded to 79 calls for service within town limits. Out of those 79 calls for service, only 5 required reports, which were the following. On October 10th, at approximately 2:46 p.m., deputies responded to the 1100 block of Joe Apter Place in reference to a fraud. Investigation revealed that unknown suspects used victims' information in order to purchase a iPhone and Apple Watch in Ocean, New Jersey. Investigation continues. On October 12th, at approximately 3:44 p.m., deputies responded to the Sheriff's Office in reference to a theft which occurred in the 2800 block of New Windsor Road. Investigation revealed that a customer at the location dropped their wallet in the parking lot when an unknown suspect picked up the wallet and stole the money from it. Suspect was later identified and charged. Case is closed by arrest. On October 14th, at approximately 8:14 p.m., deputies responded to the 100 block of High Street in reference to a malicious destruction of property. Investigation revealed that a suspect threw yogurt onto a vehicle in the parking lot after the suspect was yelled at for going the wrong way up the street. Investigation continues. On October 19th, at approximately 3:08 p.m., deputies responded to the 400 block of Church Street in reference to a domestic. Investigation revealed that residents at the location got into a verbal argument over bottled water, which turned into a mutual assault. Both parties wished not to pursue charges and case was closed by lack of prosecution. On October 30th, at approximately 2 p.m., deputies responded to the unit block of Magna Way in Westminster in reference to a stolen vehicle, which occurred in the 200 block of Main Street. Investigation revealed that known suspects took the vehicle without permission and fled the area. Case remains open. All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. Other notes. I've recently received complaints about delivery trucks double parking along Church Street in order to deliver to Uncle Mattie's. I've spoken to Mr. West, who stated that he has spoken to his food and beverage purveyors about the ongoing issue. However, they don't wish to assist in the double parking issues. So a suggestion to fix the problem is to place no parking, loading, and unloading zone signs on Church Street in front of Uncle Mattie's between the hours of 1:30 and 4:30 p.m. to help alleviate the parking for the trucks so they can park there. So I'll let that up to you guys if you want to weigh in on that.
That'll be a work session issue.
Okay. Also, in reference to cutting down on the cut-through traffic on Lambert Avenue, signs have been purchased and are ready to be installed along Church Street and High Street. Those signs will state no left turns onto Hillside Drive between 7 a.m. till 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. and no right turns onto Lambert Avenue from High Street during the same hours. We can try it out and see if it works. If it doesn't, then we can always remove them. But with that, it would be violations for those signs could be a failure to obey a traffic control device, which will result in a $90 citation and a 1 point. In reference to Church Street, the truck issues, signs have been purchased and I think have arrived, so they will be posted shortly. So those signs will replace the 3/4 ton to 5 tons. Complaints have been received about citizens utilizing the parking lot in Lions Club Park for additional parking. The issue with this is that the parked vehicles are taking up these parking spaces needed during events. Signs have been ordered and reference to this stating no overnight parking. So if the citizens that are utilizing that parking lot as a driveway, they need to figure out a new place to park their vehicles. I have spoken to DNR, or Department of Natural Resource Police, in reference to the properties on Dennings and Bowersox Roads. I've been advised that they will be assisting with enforcement on those properties in reference to the hunting and trespassing issues that we're having out there. Other than that, semi-trucks, trailers, campers, etc. that are parked along the streets are in violation of town codes, and we have received several complaints in reference to these vehicles / trailers, as some of you already know, and so those should be working on some enforcement of those shortly. In reference to the Sling-Off Lane semi-truck, I understand that it's now being parked out on New Windsor Road or Highland 31. he's able to do that. So until the State Highway Administration posts it clearly saying no parking area. Snow is coming, just a reminder to citizens that roads posted as snow emergency routes within town will be enforced. If you hear of snow in the forecast, then you might want to find an alternative parking to avoid the fines and tow fees. Lastly, deer season's among us. So deer are out running like crazy. So please use caution when traveling at night and early morning, as deer like the roadways. So other than that, that's all I have.
Any questions or comments for Master Deputy Clusi?
Thank you.
West Carroll Rec Center, or Council, Miss Megan Eves.
Hi, good evening, Megan Eves, on behalf of West Carroll Rec Council. First off, I'd like to thank the town for inviting the Rec Council to be a part of Music on the Main. We had a wonderful time. We were able to promote our organization, and then also some of our sports programs were able to partake and set up a stand, and we were able to actually get some more registrations and also engage some younger players. So thank you for that. Not a lot to report tonight as our fall season is ending, so we'll have a lot of post-season reports next month. And then also our winter sports are just starting, so we'll have a lot of preseason reports next month for you too. As I state every month at these meetings, our ongoing concerns are with several schools closing throughout the county, especially in this area. We sort of kind of are lacking gym space, especially with our basketball and cheer and wrestling program increasing in population, so gym space is always challenging for us. Any questions? Thank you.
Town Manager Cameron Waterman, tab 6.
Okay, Cameron was unable to attend this evening, so I'll take up from him here. Just two updates on 209 High Street, building renovations. We had a semifinal walkthrough inspection scheduled for Tuesday next week at 9 a.m. I've been working with Councilman Paulsgrove on a fire alarm permit and inspection that kind of come up at the last minute we were unaware of. The handicap parking space bids were due November 1st, last Friday. We received 4 bids, and I will have go into more detail on that under new business. And then the Blue Ridge College Avenue Road Improvement Project, some of the folks have already touched on this a little bit, but the concrete sidewalks, curbs, and steps are complete. Final grading, milling, and paving of College Avenue is planned for this week and next week. There's some minor things, handrails and railings for the steps and retaining walls, street signs and stop signs, they need to be completed yet. And we did a preliminary walkthrough back on October 24th, and those punch list items need to be addressed. And there will be another walkthrough scheduled. We don't have a date for that this time. The project is nearing completion, finally, to I'm sure everyone's hope and joy. So again, I'd like to thank all the residents for their patience, and it has extended longer than we thought, but that's part of construction, unfortunately. So thank everybody for their patience. That's all I have for my report.
Treasurer's report, Clerk Treasurer Davis Maestros, tab 7.
Each of the following balances given as of October 31st, 2019. General Fund, the balance is $402,196.99. General Fund Capital Budget, the balance is $186,769.12. Enterprise Fund and the balance is $557,567.98. Enterprise Capital Review and 3Rs Fund, the balance is $148,514.48. Developer fees, the balance is $410,657.62. Money Market Fund, The balance is $30,558.66. There are 14 properties for sale, and there are 4 properties in the foreclosure process. First late change on water sewer billing will be assessed on November 8th, 2019. The FY19 audit has been finalized and all of the necessary paperwork was submitted to the state of Maryland.
Is the clerk treasurer required to attend council meetings?
The position of the clerk treasurer serves as a clerk to the council. He or she shall attend every meeting of the council and keep a full and accurate account of the proceedings. They shall keep such other recordings and perform such other duties as may be required by the charter of the town of New Windsor or the council.
Old business, tab 8. Potomac Edison power outage update, David Klein.
I want to address this real briefly. Mr. David Klein had other obligations this evening, and he cleared his schedule to be here. As everyone knows, we have been experiencing a lot of blips, outages, short, brief outages, and some things are when a tree falls, that's not much anybody can do, but I appreciate Mr. Klein for coming out here this evening and addressing our issues, because it is, as we talked earlier, occurring more frequently than what probably is seen anywhere else.
So I think I'd better turn this way. Maybe I can duck quicker if I see what's coming at me. So, yeah, I'm Dave Klein from Potomac Edison, and I've been at Potomac Edison for 34 years. So the problems that you're seeing aren't new to me. I've seen those other places before. So we are aware that there is a problem here. We understand that, and we're trying to work on it. The problem with the problem is there's not just one thing that's wrong, and we're not sure of everything. I can tell you what happens when these momentary outages occur. I can tell you why they happen, but I can't tell you why yours are happening exactly yet. So we've put equipment on the line, and we've been monitoring it, and you've certainly seen a number of momentary outages, and that's what we call the blip. So let me explain what happens there. This is a large circuit. There are almost 1,300 customers on this circuit, so it's a long circuit. And there are 3 wires on that circuit. If you look up, you'll see 3 wires. So any place along that entire circuit that something touches a wire is going to create a ground fault, and that's sensed back to the substation. And we have something, it's called a recloser, but it's something like a fuse or a circuit breaker. But your circuit breakers go off at home if you plug too many things in. These circuit breakers go off if it senses a fault. And it's a safety device, and it's a device that actually helps prevent outages. The idea is if a tree branch rubs against a line, it creates a fault, and the circuit breaker, the recloser, breaks the circuit, gives it a couple of seconds, and then it resets itself and tries to turn the power back on. And it'll go through that cycle a couple times, because most faults are temporary. It's not the tree fell, a limb brushed against it. So the idea is it operates to clear the line and gives it a chance to reset so that you don't have a permanent outage. If the fault doesn't clear and it goes through that off, on about the 3rd time, then it's off for good, and it's off back at the substation. So the situation today is anywhere on those 3 lines throughout that, however many miles that is, if something touches a line or if there's a fault, it's going to end up throwing everybody off back at the substation. And if you do have an outage like that, then we have to call out a truck, and they have to come, they have to patrol the line and try to figure out where the fault occurred, what happened, and they'll reset it and bring as many customers back on as possible. And then if a tree's on the line, then they'll remove the tree and so forth and fix it. So you have an extended outage. If you have an outage, you're either going to be out for, you know, an hour or a couple hours, depending on where the crews are, or you may be out for a long time. Now, as an example, there was an extended outage the 31st. Was that Sunday? Okay, so Thursday, okay. I know the date, I just get the days mixed up. Yeah. So, right, yeah. So what happened there was an insulator failed. And when the insulator failed, now that's not something you can see from the ground, but so like a hairline fracture in an insulator, the current runs down through that. It was, you know, damp, and it hit a bolt in the pole and set the pole on fire and burned off the top of the pole. So obviously that locked out the entire circuit. And in a response to that, so we come out and we isolate that problem. Out of the 1,300 customers, we restored all but about 500 and some fairly quickly, and then the rest were out until we could replace the pole. So that's the reality. That's how the system works, and that's how it works today. What causes those things? It can be weather. Ice is probably our biggest danger. Ice and wind. Equipment. There can be equipment problems. When we patrolled the line about a month or so ago looking for problems, we found some cross arms that were suspect and replaced those. We tightened up some spans of wire. We took care of everything that we could see. Obviously, we didn't see everything, and that's the case. As I mentioned with the insulator that just failed, you can't see those problems. With our equipment, a lot of times you can't see that something's going wrong until it blows up. And typically when it does, it blows up rather spectacularly. I mean, there's usually sparks and fires and things like that. So we obviously try to prevent that, but you can't see everything before it fails, before it happens. But we are monitoring that pretty closely. The other thing that we're planning to do, and it'll be very early as soon as possible in 2020, is we're putting new electronic devices in the substation and on the line that they're electronic reclosers that are a little bit smarter. So they won't operate for everything, and they won't operate all the time, and will segregate the three phases of lines. So right now, if anything happens on any one of those three lines, everybody on the circuit will see it. So in the future, if something happens on one of those lines, there'll be field devices that may halt it out in the field and not all the way back at the substation, but the three lines will be separated so that even if one line blips, if one line has a momentary or one line has an outage, the others won't. They'll be separated that way. And that's newer technology that we're hoping to get installed as soon as possible. So the other thing, and we'll always get blamed for this as an excuse, but animals really are a problem. I can tell you a story, and this was a number of years ago, but I worked in Virginia in the Winchester Medical Center. We had constant problems with snakes. At this time of year, when it starts to get cool in the evening, our equipment is warm, and animals get active, and they may hunt out our equipment, or they may just, because they're active, contact it. But there was a brain surgeon in the middle of brain surgery at the Winchester Medical Center. And right in the middle of the brain surgery, the whole darn place blew out. And a pair of black snakes, and you try to keep them out, but they can just get into places that you wouldn't think. But they crawled into a pad mount transformer, and I guess they were feeling amorous, I don't know, but they were wrapping around each other and across the transformer inside, and connected the points between two terminals and blew out the fuse. Well, not just the fuse, it blew out the fuse holders, which we don't have just sitting around. So in the middle of this brain surgery, we had to run up to Pennsylvania someplace to find the parts to try to put it back together. It was like this huge catastrophe. We had in the city of Frederick number of years ago. I sat and watched it happen. All of a sudden, we lost a substation, then another one, and then another one. And within a couple minutes, it was a cascading faults. Within a couple of minutes, we'd lost most of Frederick County. Well, a barred owl, a barred owl, they're pretty good size, came in towards evening and landed on one of the transformers, and the wingspan was wide enough that it just hit the two terminals and blew out a large transformer. Well, there was enough load that the other transformers couldn't hold it, so they went down. Then the other substations tried to pick up the load, but there was more load than they could pick up, so it was a cascading fault. So animal problems are real. Squirrels are probably the biggest culprit. But you'll find towards late August into October or so, there will be more momentary outages. And then it can happen again in the spring as it warms up and they get active again. And people think that we just say that when we don't know what's going on and blame an animal, which is convenient to do. But I've got pictures of fried snake and toasted squirrel and so forth that we don't publish because they're gruesome, but it really does happen. So this line, your line was last trimmed for trees in 2016, and it's due for trimming again in 2021. We didn't see problems with trees on our right-of-way, but the other problem we have a right-of-way that we trim. But we often have problems where trees that are off of our right-of-way, where we don't have the right to cut them, they can fall over on the lines, and that creates problems as well. That's fairly common. But when we looked at all the data, there was not one thing that we could point to. There were all kinds of problems that have been happening over the last couple months, and not just one thing. Believe me, we'd fix it. If there was one thing that we could go out and fix and make it better, we would do that. So we fix the things as they come up, and as equipment fails, we replace it, and we inspect the equipment and try to replace it before it fails, and we do what we can. But in reality, there will always be some power problems, but not as many as you've been having. That's just really unacceptable, so we're working on that. Does anybody have any questions?
We don't have any other ideas of what it could be other than animals? I mean, what?
No, faulty equipment, failing equipment is one, weather-related is another, animals is another, and then I think somebody hit a pole with a tractor, accidents, automobile accidents and things like that. Those are the principal causes. There's not we know what causes these things. There's a number of things. It's not mysterious. It's just there isn't a wire. Sometimes, for example, you'll see the wires up on top are shield wires to protect from lightning. And sometimes they'll loosen up, or a guy wire on a pole will loosen up, and when the wind blows or whatever, will slap against the line. It's not that.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Anecdotally, let me tell you a little bit of what I've experienced. So I've actually been dealing with this for about 10 years with the blips. My electric has gone off pretty much every single day for those 10 years. That was before anybody else seemed to be experiencing anything. Potomac Edison came out and put a monitor on my house to see if I was, first they thought I was receiving some sort of surge from inside the house itself, from something faulty in the house. They put a monitor on the house that was supposed to be on for about a week or two. It was over a month. I had to call back. They weren't even aware that the monitor was there, they said. Within a matter of days, they called me back and said they saw no surges or spikes on theirs. It wasn't until some time later that I spoke to one of your field people who finally admitted that the problem seems to be at the circuit itself. It's the oldest circuit, from my understanding, the oldest circuit on the grid for Potomac Edison. It has been problematic. Potomac Edison is aware of that. When I called Potomac Edison and asked about that, they told me, and this was some years ago, that circuit was on the schedule to be replaced, and the substation was on the schedule to be replaced, and it still doesn't seem to have happened. and every time it's always early into the next year. We never get an actual time, January, or even, we don't even get physical or fiscal year. It's sometime in the next upcoming year. Now, you said that they're going to make some improvements and some equipment modifications in the next upcoming year, in the early part of the next upcoming year. Do we have a more definitive time, and what is the delay in getting that done? Is it simply financial, or is it list of priority, or what seems to be the problem with getting that repair made?
That is regulated now, and so we are required to work on what are called the worst performing circuits, which this circuit was a number of years ago, and I know that we did some work, and it was no longer the worst performing circuit, but that's a requirement from the Public Service Commission, which has been. So we're required to monitor all that, keep records of all that, and then work on the worst circuits down the list. And how far down the list of the jobs that we get to do is based on money, it's based on finances.
So, do you have any projections on when this circuit will be worked on, specifically this
Not
circuit?
off the top of my head. I know that the electronic reclosers are scheduled in 2020 because that's we're on a calendar budget year.
Okay.
So that is scheduled for that. And the way our system operates, keep in mind now, our last rate increase was 1994. And we just did another rate increase, which gave us some more money for projects, a small rate increase, which is the first in 25 years. So we have a budget that we have to operate in, and we look at all the projects that need to be done, and they're ranked from worst performing circuits down, and we do the jobs until we don't have the money to do anymore, and then those would be put off until the following year.
And so, do you know where we sit on that list of
No,
priorities?
I'll find out for you.
Because
And I haven't heard anything about a circuit being worked on. Yeah, but I'm not aware that we would go in and replace an entire circuit or a substation. I've not seen that.
okay.
Now, if there are transformers in the substation that are failing and having problems, yeah, we would replace those, sure.
I think everybody can understand the situation with the trees falling and even the animals, and trust me, I understand that. It's what I do. I work with animals in that same situation, but it can't be. That can't be the main reason. It just simply cannot. I mean, when you compare it to the other areas of the county and other experiences, that is so far down. And I'm not any expert, but that's got to be so far down.
And that's the problem. It's a combination of factors, and it's a large circuit. In fact, I believe it was larger, and part of what we did during the time when it was the worst performing circuit is we took part of it off and put on a separate circuit. And don't ask me addresses, don't ask me where, because I don't know off the top of my head, but I know that we did that. But it's a big circuit with a lot of exposure, so there are a lot of things and age is one of those things. Pardon?
Are you overloaded?
No, it's not, has nothing to do with being over. And somebody asked about Lehigh, or trying, relating, pardon? Yeah, but Lehigh is an industry served at primary voltage. There is no connection between this circuit. I mean, literally, there is no connection. They're totally separate, yeah. So it has nothing to do with like their motors kicking on or something like that and then creating an issue. And the other thing, a surge, so what you're seeing is momentary outages. So a surge happened in this last storm down in Brunswick, because I got all the calls. And what happened there is if lightning strikes a line, you may see a blip or something. We have lightning arresters, and lightning is a huge amount of energy, but really quick. It's 60 cycles per second of electricity. Lightning will pass within a fraction of one of those 60 cycles. It's really fast, and typically it doesn't cause damage anymore. This, though, a tree knocked a 34,500 kV kilovolt line, which is a sub-transmission line above. Tree knocked it down into a 12 kV distribution line. So what that does is that triples the voltage on your line. So instead of getting 120 or 240 into your house, now you're getting 360 or whatever. So the lights get really bright and for a couple seconds, and then stuff just burns up.
Could that be a part of using, what is it, a smart reclosure, you said?
The problem,
Instead of a circuit breaker, another one?
no, that type of surge, it's really hard to prevent because it's not enough voltage increase. It's not enough voltage increase to trigger something, but it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of amperage. So you're getting a lot of power at not, lightning might be 1,000,000 volts. This is 360. So most UL devices, I think, are rated to work at maybe 10 times the voltage or something like that. But it's a lot of energy that comes in for a matter of a couple of seconds, and that just burns stuff up. And when a surge happens, it's likely not just you or one person. It's going to be on that circuit, and everybody will experience it. And there's not a lot. It happened to my brother a couple of times. We had issues down in Brunswick. And in fact, that is one case where we actually did move and replace a line because we had consistent problems with it was a very steep hillside with a line going through, and even though no matter how much we trimmed, because it was a steep hillside, trees from above could fall, and it happened a number of times that we had these surges knocking equipment out. So that was a case where we actually did relocate a line. But it burns up your surge suppressors and everything. When an actual surge happens, there's not a lot of question about it.
But how long have we been using the reclosures?
Well, they've been on the lines for, I don't want to say forever, but yeah. But the electronic reclosers won't operate as much, and they will separate so that when something operates, not everyone will see it. It will reduce the number. It doesn't, but you still have issues with equipment ultimately fails. There still will be weather, ice, wind, that sort of thing. So you can't eliminate problems completely, but we can certainly try to get them back to within a reasonable amount.
Well, when these blips happen and these outages happen, are you guys automatically aware of that, or is the only time you become aware of it when somebody calls?
It's recorded.
It is recorded, okay.
Next question.
I guess that is related to that. When these splits happen, if they are recorded,
Yes.
so you know when they happen.
Oh, I can give you a detailed, yeah,
So they're happening almost on a daily basis.
no.
Yes, yes, yes.
Come to our house for a while.
Well,
I mean, maybe they're not recording them. I mean, maybe they're not getting recorded. Maybe they're not.
okay, right now, what's recorded is what happens at the substation, not necessarily if a field recloser operates. I'll check into that. I don't know that if we record that or not.
Right before I came here.
They are happening almost on a daily basis.
Doesn't matter if it's raining or if it's sunny out.
Right, so, I mean, it can't be. I mean, I appreciate your stories about the animals and the trees and all this, but this can't be animals or trees or whatever.
Send me through Mayor Roop, send me your addresses. Well, if it's the whole circuit, though, it would be recorded.
All our neighbors have the same problem.
Well, so that's why I need well, just a couple would be enough because that would help isolate it out on the line.
Everybody needs to report every time it happens, because if you're not reporting it to your substation, you're not knowing that every time it blinks, should we call you guys? Because you're gonna get a lot of calls.
Well, you can, sure.
Is that gonna make a difference? Will that move us up the worst circuit list?
So it's,
If we're complaining enough,
Twice a day.
and
yeah, I would, if something happens, I would report it, sure. But so
Yours doesn't.
from August through October, we have record of 5 momentary outages at the substation. There are a lot of, but there are 15 or more what we call line disturbances, which, so the question is, that's why I'm asking to forward the addresses. So maybe there is something happening out on the line someplace that's being caught by a line recloser and it's not occurring all the way back at the substation. So that's helpful. I mean, we need to know that.
Could that happen daily?
Well, that's why I'm saying,
get the point.
So that's why I'm saying, if you send the addresses, that would help us, help to isolate wherever the fault is.
Well,
If it's happening that often, obviously it's something.
I live down in the corner of High and Lambert, and my pine tree is growing up over the line. And I've made a report, and I've made several reports, and I never hear back. They never come from the tree. There's a transition point there. It's not just a line running across. There's a corner there, and they're not.
What's the address?
414 High Street.
Okay, give me a second.
Because I'm not touching that.
No, please don't.
You know, if we're not, if it's trees on the lines is one of those things, brushing the lines, I feel like following up on the tree reports. This could affect people's health too. You know, my husband was in the middle of a respiratory treatment when it went out. And, you know, we thought this was life and death, but I mean, I was up on the computer making a plane reservation, and I thought about what other people have health implications that depend on electricity. What do you have to have, you know?
Generator.
What happens in other towns? I mean, they don't deal with this.
I've never heard of any place that had a problem with that. I've never lived in any place that's had that power. Yeah, I'd like to follow up on that. I appreciate you being here, because this has the potential to be a real hostile crowd, and I respect your words. But going back to Allegheny Power, I've heard all of that now for 17 or 18 years. But getting back on the reclosures, you used to have a mechanical reclosure. The problem was going to be solved with the digitals that are in place now, but all it did was reduce it a little bit. And what I have heard about the new reclosures, it's just going to reduce it. It's
Right.
not going to eliminate it.
Nothing will eliminate the problem. Nothing will eliminate the problem. There will always be
I've lived in
faults.
four countries, 6 states, 13 cities at least, and God only knows how many addresses. And this is by far the absolute worst electrical service I've ever had. I've never experienced these small blips in service.
You guys should be
We
ashamed of yourself.
understand traffic accidents, weather, equipment failures, but what we have going on here is ridiculous. Back in August,
The only reason you're getting away with it.
Sir, when someone's talking, you will show respect.
But back in August, I wrote a letter to the chief executive officer of First Energy, and there was a response. But the response was pretty much the words you're talking about now. And it seemed like for a couple of days in my situation, the number of blips had decreased. And now they seem to be back on par with and it's not daily for me, but I feel good saying it's 2 or 3 a week. But what I did is, I'm just not complaining, okay? I complained in August, but I wrote another letter after the incident on the 30th of October, and the following day there was another disruption in service. So I wrote saying, hey, look, my patience is saturated. I'm thinking lawsuits, class action suits, and I'm thinking, if a jury of our peers heard what was going on out here, I think they'd do something about it, and I hope they would. I also called the Public Service Commission, and having worked with them before, I know that they don't support the public as they're supposed to. They really represent the service companies. So I asked the Public Service Commission to look into re-jurisdiction, because I called BG&E, and they're willing to come out and take over all of our service with all new equipment, but there has to be a jurisdiction change. And the people who do the jurisdiction change are the Public Service Commission. So I wrote to the Public Service Commission requesting the process to affect a jurisdiction change. And I also CC'd the governor of Maryland asking for some oversight of the PSC response, because I know they're gonna tell me to blow off. So that's where I am, and I'll give a lot of energy in seeing that we don't maintain the status quo, you know? We're not gonna accept putting a Band-Aid on this problem. I personally think it needs to be re-architecture. I think there needs to be new equipment come in to replace all, and not just a reclosure on a triple line or double line or whatever it is that we have out here. And I look around and I see new housing developments, and all that means to me is more disruption in service. And I cry out, I really cry out for people that have medical issues. You know, for me, you know, it's a disruption, okay? But for people who have respirators and, you know, dilation and whatnot, it's a major inconvenience for them, if not death potential. And I guess you can tell I've had it. I don't understand why for 17 years we get these stories about animals and reclosures and whatnot, when the problem is so much bigger than what we're being led to believe it is, and supported in that by all the service that I've had in the different places where I've lived.
Thank you. Going forward, whenever you have an issue, an outage, a blimp, whatever it might be, email the time and your address to info@newwindsormd.org. And probably on a weekly basis, we will forward it on to Mr. Klein.
Address.
1430 Oak Orchard Road.
Pardon?
14830 Oak Orchard Road. I know at least 5 or 6 people on that street.
In that general area. We'll investigate that tomorrow, absolutely.
Dave, that's in Frederick County. Would that be on the same circuit here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Neil, can you just repeat the?
info@newwindsormd.org.
Mr. Klein?
Mm-hmm.
So your new system that you're talking about putting in place,
Mm-hmm.
and it says smart reclosures, is that considered smart grid, smart meters? Is that what you're talking about? Will we be required to get a smart meter?
No,
Thank God.
no.
And we can just keep our meters?
When you said smart grid, I'm thinking of our operations and transmission lines and things like that. But no, we have no plans to do smart meters in Maryland. We looked at it and saw for the expense that there was no real return. There was not a pressing reason to do it. We do it in Pennsylvania because the legislature passed a law that requires us to do it in Pennsylvania.
But can you be a little bit more detailed on the new system that's going in?
So you have this long circuit, and something happens out here, and it sees that back at the substation, and the substation blips, and that's what you see, and everybody sees that. So with the new operations, you have this long circuit, and there will be other devices in between that are sequenced so that they would see, if something happens out here, those that are close would see that, but not all the way back at the substation. And if something happened, like it wasn't just a blip, like a tree fell on one of the 3 wires, today, if that happens, all 3 wires of the circuit get shut off. So in the future, if a tree would be laying on one of the wires, that one would be shut off, but the other 2 would not be. They would still have service. That's basically how that would operate.
Question about that. Does that mean that if one of the 3 is continuously the problem, are you then going to be able to detect where that problem is and fix that problem? Like,
The problem right now is,
they're all
yeah,
being affected together. Obviously, it may not be.
that would help isolate the problem. That will help isolate.
Is there a plan when you find out what that problem is?
Oh, yeah, obviously, we would replace, if there is something that's failing that we can't see that it's failing and we can identify that, obviously, we'd replace it, sure. That's, part of the issue is if we can't lay our finger on one thing. There's a variety of causes that we've seen. We haven't been able to identify what the problem is. We're happy to fix it as soon as we do. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you might be barking up the wrong tree, but at my house, it happens almost at the same time. Yeah. Between 8 and 9:30 in the morning. So that can't be the same squirrel going over the same time.
Actually, it can be.
Well, okay, so that's good to know. If you report that, if you report where it's happening and what time, that's helpful to, maybe it has to do with temperature changes, it warms up in the morning, who knows? But it's helpful to, trying to isolate what the problem is.
Dave, thank you for coming out tonight, and you and I will be having more communications, and
Well, and you can give out my email. That's
okay.
That's not secret.
All right.
Certainly.
I can do that.
I'm on the website. I get all kinds of calls. So yeah. So you can send it to Mayor Roop, but then you can also copy me. Send me. It's helpful to know what's happening when is helpful. Without that information, we're just shooting
Thank you.
the
We're
breeze.
going to keep our meeting going.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. Hundreds of emails weekly
Yeah.
and forwarding to him.
Town Attorney Conaway.
Good evening. A few meetings ago, I handed out a draft ordinance about small cell wireless facilities for your review. These are smaller wireless facilities that are designed to be put on poles and other structures that require much less space than traditional cell towers. Since I provided that draft, there have been some proposed changes to that regulations that may make it more difficult for the town to have input as to the location of these facilities. Also, I know that service providers are interested in putting these facilities in other parts of the county. Therefore, I think we should schedule a review of the proposed ordinance at the December council meeting so we can complete the adoption progress.
Has any company approached the town of New Windsor to install a small cell facility?
Not yet, but I expect that to happen in the future.
2019 audit approval.
This, actually, we addressed last meeting, and it had in the agenda 2018, and I didn't catch it, so we passed the 2018 a second time. So now we need to approve the 2019 audit.
So, motion we approve the 2019 audit.
Say that again.
I'll make the motion that we approve the 2019 audit.
I'll make that motion to approve the 2019 audit.
I second.
There is a motion by Councilmember Ambrose, seconded by Councilmember Holden, to approve the 2019 audit. Are there any questions or comments about the motion? All those in favor of approving the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes. Employee handbook revision update.
Take that.
Go ahead.
Okay, the draft version was reviewed at the October 21st work session meeting. Attorney Ostrander made changes per the discussion recommendations of the mayor and council, and the revised document is in your binders for review. If necessary, we can have further discussion at the November work session. Michelle's informed us that she will be unable to attend that meeting. However, any future changes or reviews should be minor at this point. So take a look at the new latest draft, and then we can discuss at our next work session meeting if necessary.
And, what was it again?
Tell the council to review the handbook, before the next work session.
To the council, review the employee handbook before next work session.
You gotta hammer it into them or they won't read it. Town banners update.
Okay, this was last discussed in any detail at the October 2nd council meeting. Councilman Green and Kalina are working on this, and last week Kalina sent the suggestions from the council to Shannonbaum Signs to revise the 3 options, and we're waiting for it to get those back. So we hopefully have something for the next meeting.
LGIF loan update.
Okay, New Windsor is participating in a what's called a pooled insurance with 7 other Maryland municipalities through the State of Maryland Community Development Administration Local Government Infrastructure Finance Program. The town applied for funding for two projects as follows. The first one is for New Windsor Town Hall and Public Works Building loan refinance, and the second is the Town Hall and Public Works Building renovations. The pooled issuance is on schedule. We will receive documents to sign the week of November 11th, and they need to get back to the state by November 18th, and then the bond issuance will close on November 21st, and then the monies will be available at the end of November. We did get an email from Charlie Day with the local government infrastructure program today, and notifying us that the approved interest rate for the loans are at 2.99%. So we got a very good loan rate on the loans.
Sulphur Spring Park update.
Sulphur Springs Park update. If you're not familiar with this project, it's where our former 2 lagoons were, plus existing land of total of about 26 acres. Now, some of that includes the tennis courts, the basketball court, the Lions Club ball field, and the wastewater treatment plant buildings, and some public works buildings. And while we have this open space, I feel that it's a great opportunity to have a park that we are extremely proud of. I contacted Special Secretary of Smart Growth, Wendy Peters, and she suggested that we go through what is called the PALS program at the University of Maryland. Hopefully I get the PALS right. It's Partnership, Action, Learning, Sustainability. And there were 2 teams, basically 7 undergraduate students from the University of Maryland that came out and designed 2 different designs. Now, if you were at Musical on the Main, they were on display there. These individuals did an outstanding job, and the governor took a look at them. He loved it. Of course, he's going to love anything that the University of Maryland students are doing, but he also is big on parks. And when the students came out, I told them what I wanted them to do, because they were, younger, they were in their 20s. And I said, what I want is a project, a park that when you were to come out and say, hey, I love this park, I want to move to New Windsor. And that's what they designed. Now, they designed a little bit more than what I was hoping for, because they incorporated the carnival grounds in there. However, I'm not really pushing for that, but the land that we have available, I think, will be an extremely nice park when it's done. So one of the things I did last Monday was contact an individual. He's well known, but I'm not going to mention his name right now, because he's still in the thinking process. But he loved the project. He presented it before his board of directors, and they all thought the idea was great. And when I spoke to him, he asked what the naming rights would cost, and I said about $500,000. He said, is that all? So I think he's used to the $5 million, $10 million naming rights at a lot of arenas and stadiums. And the reason why I went with $500,000, and I don't think the council will disagree or argue for naming rights if somebody gives us $500,000, I didn't think so, is that we could take a look at using that $500,000 as a match with the state of Maryland bond program. They call it a bond program, but it's basically a grant. So naturally, matching grant, $500,000, and if the state were to award us $500,000, then we have $1 million to get the project pretty much completed. Then I've also been working since 2014 with the Cal Ripken Senior Foundation, so for an artificial turf ball field. So hopefully they would still be on board helping us. So there's a lot to happen before we can put a shovel in the ground, but I'm optimistic, but I've been optimistic before and heard the no. So we will keep you posted as things go on, but this would be huge for New Windsor with a very nice park with benches and about I think over a mile walking trail that would go through wetlands. We would have a boardwalk through the wetlands, which would be educational for our students and you know, environmental friendly. So I'm real excited about that. You are too, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if you have any questions about that, yes.
Is there any way to still see the plans if you didn't make it to Music on the Main?
Yes, I think I can.
There's still a town hall.
Yeah, there's still a town hall if you want to pop in there. There's 2 different designs, and I don't know if they're electronically.
I don't have them electronically. We have the 2 boards, 2 different size boards, and then they also provided a nice binded book with the history of some of the background work that they did, which is really nice.
They did an extremely professional job. If you take a look at it, you'll be amazed. And what is really nice is my favorite word, free. So, but stop in between 9 and 3, and we'll try to get them standing up next couple weeks, so you can take a look at them. And nothing is finalized. So if you have ideas, you know, say something to the town staff, send me a message, whatever, email. So this is our park, and I'd like to have everybody's input, especially if we were to receive that contribution. Then we would, I would have a task force or a planning committee to finalize the project, and that would be made up of members of our community, the rec council, and probably town council and staff as well. So, but stop in town hall. I think you'll be really pleased at the 2 designs. Thank you.
Neil,
Yes.
nothing is free.
The designs did not cost us anything.
Right, but the grants or whatever, it's not just free, so what's the catch? You're just coming out here and just doing that for nothing?
The students?
University of Maryland.
Yes.
They did the design, it's complete. They did 2 designs, cost us nothing.
Well, it was funded through the University of Maryland. I guess the state of Maryland funds the PALS program.
Is that part of Italy?
I'm not familiar with that.
You're not familiar with it? Yuri Alvin?
Uri, yeah.
Uri?
He's part of the PALS program.
Okay.
Yeah, he came, actually, Uri Avon came out, came out 2 or 3 years ago and did a proposal for a impact study that I wanted at one time, and that had a price tag to it, and he couldn't get a grant for that. So we put that aside, and then Special Secretary Wendy Peters said, because she kind of I won't say she oversees that, but with smart growth, that's kind of like, I guess, part of her area to support, and that's why we got the 2 teams to come out. And it was Professor Dennis Nola who oversaw the 2 teams. So you're familiar with the area, are you?
I'm familiar with the after researching.
Okay.
Not the pronunciation.
I think it's Uri Avon, I think. So, all right. Very Very good.
New business, go to tab 9, handicap parking paving for 209 High Street.
Okay, so there's a spreadsheet in your tabs, in your binders, sorry, that has the breakdown of the bids that we received, and then there's also a briefing paper. So we did a request for proposal, was prepared and put out for bid October 11th. There were two, in the original RFP, there were two areas to be, two parking areas. However, we had to pull one of them out. The owners of 132 Church Street did not want it paved at this time. So we issued addendum 1, and basically what that did was revise the two paving areas to the one, which was the handicap parking space that's required for us to get use and occupancy for the new building at 209 High Street. Addendum 2 was issued October 21st and made part of the RFP, and that addendum resulted from the pre-bid meeting on October 18th, and it further detailed the following: handicap access aisle and the associated striping within the new paved area across Sporeline Drive to the front of 209 High Street, which will be the new town hall soon. The requirement to saw cut the existing edge of Sporeline Drive and require tack material along the entire area of proposed paving. The requirement to adjust the existing paving across Sporeline, which is the area that will be striped for the access walk to meet ADA requirements and approval by the county, and then remove the requirement for compaction testing of existing RC6. That RC6 stone was put in by a different contractor, so this contractor has no way of doing the compaction testing on that, because the stone has to be, the tickets for the stone have to be received on that day. The bid opening was November 1st, and like I said, we received 4 bids. J.G. Benhoff was the low bid at $5,758. Bollinger and Brooks Construction was $8,306. White Pine Paving was $8,956, and ECM was $9,500. There was a requirement for 3 references for each contractor, and all the references were checked. All references came back positive and all good. I don't see any reason to not go with the lowest bid in this case, based on the positive references and there being a $2,548 difference between the low bid and the second lowest bid. Time's of the essence on as the paving season is quickly coming to an end, temperature-wise, and with the paving asphalt plants remaining open. If possible, I'd like to get approval and then issue notice to proceed tomorrow for the contractor, which would be November 7th. And all the contractors were clearly told verbally, and in several sections of the RFP, they have 20 days to complete upon notice to proceed. So that puts it the Wednesday, I believe, before Thanksgiving, which is November 27th. So that should keep us on track with getting the use and occupancy permit and moving into 209 High Street the first week in December. We'll pay for this work from the $55,000 CD we cashed in for 209 related improvements to 209 High Street. So my recommendation is to award the contract to J.G. Benhoff for $5,758 with the guarantee to complete the work by November 27th as stated and required in the RFP.
Do I hear a motion to approve the bid?
I will make that motion. Second.
There is a motion by Councilmember Ambrose, second by Councilmember Gillis, to approve the handicapped parking paving for 209 High Street to J.G. Benhoff with the bid of $5,758. Are there any questions or comments about the motion? Treasurer Maestros, do you have fundings to cover the paving?
Yes.
All those in favor of approving the motion say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Residents' concerns. Are there any residents signed up to speak?
No.
Announcements. Does the council have any announcements?
Yes.
It's not an announcement, but a decision that will need to be made for the December meeting. We do not at this point have a location.
Right.
So,
I got that in my report here, but go ahead.
just bringing that up.
Thank you.
Any announcements from the public? The 4th annual Mayor on the Square food drive, where the mayor will be at 201 Main Street on Friday, November 22nd from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. for food donations for the New Windsor Food Bank at St. Paul United Methodist Church. $1 will equal £1. Last year, Mayor on the Square raised about 2 tons. This year's goal is another 3 tons. Let's get her done. Help her reach 3 ton. Christmas tree lighting Wednesday, December 4th at 6 p.m. Main Street Park, followed by refreshments and town council meeting.
A couple things. One, this is my 4th annual Mayor on the Square food drive. It helps the New Windsor Food Bank at St. Paul United Methodist Church. So I would greatly appreciate your support this year. Talk to your churches, your schools, your neighbors, even may even do a street contest, see who can come up with the most food. And also this year, unfortunately, Mayor Perry Jones from Union Bridge will be out of town on the 22nd. I think he's going to be in Texas for a conference. But Mayor Wance from Tawnytown has accepted my challenge for a food drive. So we cannot let Tawnytown beat us. No offense to the Tawnytown residents, but we have better folks here that are going to really support this. And then also with the New Windsor Lion Club support, we are also doing a coat drive that are in good shape, and they will go to Shepherd Staff in Westminster. They have a coat drive going on up through the 15th, but we're going to accept coats on the 22nd for Shepherd Staff. And then, as the mayor said, Christmas tree lighting will be on Wednesday, December 4th at 6 p.m. before our town council meeting. This room here will be used beginning November 22nd for county office space while they remodel some of their office space at the county office building. So we won't be able to meet here. And more most likely it will be at the New Windsor Fire Hall, which is 101 High Street, but we will notify everybody on that. And hopefully everybody comes that's here will come to our next meeting. And then also, it may be a little early, but New Windsor Fire Company Sound and Detail, once they get that listed, you go to www.nwfd10.org for the schedule. That's a big hit every year now, so that's one of the things the fire department has coming up. Are there any other events coming up that you would like to announce? I know the Heritage Committee has their Hall of Fame banquet Saturday evening.
Yes, and actually, Mayor Roop is being inducted into the Hall of Fame this Saturday, so we can pre-congratulate him. We do need reservations, but if anybody wants, we can squeeze it. I've been assured by someone at the school that we can squeeze a few more people in. It's going to be at the Ziegler Hall at 6 o'clock on Saturday night, so if anybody wants to attend, please see me after the meeting.
All right, now is the best time. We get to hear a little bit from the students, And we'll start down with Evan. If you'd like to introduce yourself and say a little bit about yourself, what grade you're in, hobbies, interests, anybody that's here supporting you.
Oh, I'm Evan, I'm in 8th grade and I go to Northwest, and I like to be outside, and my parents and social studies teacher are here.
Thanks. I'm Carly Holden. I'm 13 and I go to Springdale Preparatory School. I dance a lot at Carroll County Dance Center, and yeah. Oh yeah, my mom's here.
My name is Kamani Ambrose. I'm a freshman at Springdale Preparatory School. I like to read, and some of my teachers are here. And so yeah.
Tell us where home is for you.
Oh, and I'm from New York, so.
He's from New York, but I took him to our Lions Club meeting last week to get him familiarized with Lionism, and hopefully Springdale will have a Leo Club, which is for the youth, from the ages of 12 to 18, and this young man made quite an impression on all of our Lions members. So I look for some great things. He may only be in 9th grade, but let me tell you something. Stay aware of this young man. He's going to make a difference in this community one day.
My name is Spencer Conaway. I am a freshman at Francis Scott Key High School, and I don't know, I spend most of my time doing my homework, so like get a lot of it. Teachers, you should not give out homework, but I can't make that decision for you. I can just have an impact on your decisions. My parents are both here. My younger brother Sawyer is here, and my old social studies teacher is here. And my mom is on the town council for Union Bridge.
Hi, I'm Sawyer. My sister and parents are both here. I go to Northwest Middle, and I spend most of my time playing with my siblings.
Oh. My name is Nasir Tate. I'm a freshman at Springdale Preparatory School. It's like, I think it's that way or something like that. My parents aren't here, but my teachers are here. My best friend Kamani's right there. I spend most of my time playing lacrosse or messing around with some computer science stuff. And wait, what else do I have to share?
Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, but I moved here 7 years ago. So, and I turned 15
East
on
side of
Sunday.
Baltimore.
Yeah. I turned 15 on Sunday. Well, I turned 15 on Sunday. Thank you.
I'm Davis Meisters. I go to Springdale Preparatory School. I'm in the 7th grade. My mom and my sisters are here, and some of my teachers. And I really enjoy playing baseball, and I spend most of my time doing that. Or, yeah. My favorite subject, math.
I thought it was art. His mom is the art teacher. Well, I think they got to experience the good, the bad, the ugly, but it's reality. So everything that you heard tonight is what we deal with on a regular basis. Our goal as elected officials and staff, the employees of the town, is to provide the greatest customer service that they possibly can and to improve your quality of life. Sometimes our staff is overwhelmed by the public. We have 2 full-time people in the office and 1 part-time person in the office, and we have 2 full-time public works and one part-time public works. And for them to do the job that they do day in, day out is sometimes overwhelming. But I think everyone on the town council knows what they do, and the reason why we do have, I think, a good quality of life here in New Windsor. And yes, we have some issues, water and sewer, electric outages, but overall, I think New Windsor is still a great place with which to live. I think working together, we can make it better. But just remember, our staff are humans that need your support and your respect. They will do whatever they can. They work tirelessly. If you have a water and sewer issue, Donna will help however she can for people to make payments. If there's an issue for Public Works, Gary and Wayne, our Director of Public Works, will come out personally and see the issue and try to take care of it. But just remember, you know, they're working for you, but they're humans as well and need to be treated with respect. So, but to end, I think the students need a big round of applause. The moment we've been waiting for.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second that motion.
All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, say no. The meeting is adjourned.
Bang it. There you go.
In the meantime, too.